is this? Tabletop Island, huh? Let's see what this is all about.
Get ready to bid on a car in Downforce, a game of high stakes and intense speed, but focus on what cards you have because that will dictate which cars you can move. Now pay attention to the checkpoint lines. That's when you will bet on a car you think will win. At the end of each game, you determine how much your predictions earned, so make them count. The player with the most money wins. Downforce by Restoration Games. Welcome to Tabletop Island. I'm Bernardo, your host, and today we're going to be taking a look at the board game Downforce by Restoration Games. This game is a lot of fun. I've actually been playing this for quite some time, and it's actually becoming one of the most played games in my collection. But let's first take a look at how the game plays. So you're betting and bidding on not only racers, but who you think's gonna win the race. At the end of the game, you determine who has the most money, and that is the player that wins. It's a very simplistic idea, but there's a lot of complexities here, so let's take a look at that. So first and foremost, the game has these two-sided boards, which have amazing artwork. They're simplistic enough to enjoy and really be able to follow everything, but they have such nice design to it. Oh, I'm such a fan. And there are also two expansions. There is Danger Circuit that comes with a double-sided board and more power cards, but we'll get into that in a moment. And then also Wild Ride. Wild Ride has a lot of just wacky things going on for it. One being the ramps that you can jump over certain areas, much like you're drag racing or just trying to get away from things like it's Fast and the Furious. And then you have the other side, which has kind of detours and things blocking your path, such as a snake and things like that. It's such a wacky idea, but it does add more kind of diversity to the game and a lot more complexities. So when I first saw this game, I was like, I don't really want a racing game. I was looking out on Twitter, a lot of great things were being said about it, and then I saw this picture of someone who swapped out the vehicles for Mario Kart pieces, and when I saw that, I was like, I need to have this game because that's amazing. This player actually ended up getting these Mario Kart pieces from Amazon. I'll have a link in the description where I got these because I ended up doing the same, and then I painted the vehicles to match the colors on the racers. Now, other players and other individuals over time ended up using the Mario Kart Gamers pieces, which fit a lot better. While mine stick out just a little bit, mine does have a lot more detail. I'm definitely waiting to get more of the Mario Kart Gamer pieces since the main base game only comes with, I believe, 4 of them. But once I get all of those, I may start using them because they fit a lot better. But the ones I have are just so fun to look at, and they're a lot more detailed. And something about being the winner of the race at the end with these racers, if you pull them back, they actually shoot and start driving by themselves. It's one of those classic racing toys. It's such a fun idea. I love the idea of changing the visual aspects. While I'm not a big drag racer fan, the little cars are really well made. They're really nice plastic, but I think by switching it for the Mario Kart pieces, it really grabs the attention of people who may not be interested in that and people who just have nostalgia for Mario Kart itself, much like me. And there's actually even a game mechanic of a way to play it like that, but I'll do a video about that another time. I'll have a link in the description where you can find maybe a little bit more info. It was on BoardGameGeek.com and things you can print out for it. Oh, it's a lot of fun. So as for the game itself, you start off by passing out the speed cards. You start passing them out until the deck runs out. There may be some left over depending on how many players you're playing with. This is a game for 2 to 6 players, and that also dictates how many cars you can have. So if you're playing with 6 players, you're only gonna ever have 1 car, and you can only bid on 1 car. But if you have less players, some players may get 2 cars, all players may get 2 cards. It all depends on how many people are playing, and if you even want 2 cars, because you don't have to have 2 if you don't want to. There can still be some left over. Now, once you pass out the speed cars, you want to look at them and determine which racer can you move the farthest. If you have red at the top with all 6s on almost all your cars, that's going to be the car you want to bid on because you can move it along the path the farthest and a lot more effective. Now, this is where things are going to get a little tricky, but just because you can move it the farthest doesn't mean it has to be the racer that you own. And we'll get into that in a moment. And then the auction takes place. You reveal a racer. Then you randomly reveal a power card. And the power cards give the racers abilities. These abilities can be taken advantage of at either the beginning of your turn or even on other players' turns. So that can also dictate maybe the cars you want to bid on. Now, once you again determine which ones you want to bid on, you reveal the car one by one and then you place a speed card face down. Now, if you don't want to bid on it, you can put a throwaway card, but let's say you're bidding on red and you have, let's say, red on 6. You place a card face down. At the end of the countdown, 1, 2, 3, you reveal once everyone's ready, and whoever has the highest number of that color strip vehicle that you're bidding on, that's going to determine how many millions you're paying for it. So if you got the highest and let's say you put down a 6, you're paying 6 million on it, and that is now going to be your racer. But that's where things are going to get a little iffy, where you may not want to pay that much, because at the end of the game you're going to be subtracting how much you pay on your racer. Now you pick up the cards you've used for the bidding. Just because you use them to bid on the racer doesn't mean they go to a discard pile. Now when you start the race, whenever you start playing cards, those will be going to a discard pile. So playing them in the order that's more logical for you will matter. So you have your vehicles laid out prior to the bidding, and the player who's on the first marker goes first. And just because you're the first player, don't think they'll have an advantage, because the cards are really well balanced. But determining which cards you play first will really dictate a lot of your movement, because you may not want to do a full on 6 if you think you're not going to get your full movement. What I mean by that, some of the racetracks itself have stoppers or one lane, so if one player is in a one lane spot, you can't move past them. You can only kind of go around them, but if there's no track to go around them from, you're stuck. So this may be a point where you see green ahead and you have a 6 green, but you want to use it now that they're going to get blocked by someone else. So you may say, I don't want to move green 6, so I'm going to hold on to this card. When you see that they're blocked and you can only move them, let's say 2 spaces, play the 6 card, because they can only go that maximum number of spots on the card that they can. Now, the cards itself, when you use them for racing, you're going to move each vehicle down the line on that card. So first, second, third, fourth, 5th, 6th, however many cars are on it. Now, keeping in mind they have to go in that order, unless you have an ability that lets you switch or reverse the order. Now, once you're moving each car the maximum number of spaces you can, then your turn ends, you put that card in the discard pile, and it's the next player's turn. This continues until you pass the first betting line. Once you pass the first betting line, you take your betting sheet and you secretly mark down which car you think is going to win the race. Now, at the end of the game, once you pass all 3 betting lines, you're going to see who got first place, second, third, fourth, 5th, and 6th. 6th player gets nothing for their place that they land in. Once you collect however much money your racer gets, then you're going to take a look at the betting that you made earlier. Now, whatever you bid on, if they came in first, second, or third in betting line 1, 2, and 3, that dictates how much money you get. For example, if you bid on the one that came in first place on the first betting line, you'll get 9 million, and if you continued it on, you would get 6 on the second betting line and then 3 million on the third betting line. So this is where this is going to matter, and you're really going to have to pay attention to, let's say it's not your vehicle winning. You gotta let go of your pride here and allow your opponents to win the race if you think you can help them win, and if you think you're bidding on a car that you think you can help win the race, because again, you'll make more money on your bets being more accurate than you will if your car gets first place. And I know it's hard to want to allow another vehicle to win, because you do want to get first place. You will make a majority of your money on betting, so sometimes you have to tuck your tail between your legs and just help another vehicle win that can help you make the most money, especially on your bets. But that's honestly the entire game in a nutshell. It is such a fantastic, simplistic family game that's easy to teach. It is such a great price point too. I'll have a link in the description where you can get it with all your Amazon Prime needs, but the game has so much going for it. It's such an easy game to get in new players, so I would really say this is a great gateway game. But it looks amazing on the table, and if you do end up getting the Mario Kart pieces, I promise you'll really enjoy that, and your friends will look at it on the table and be like, whoa, what is that? And it will make it a lot more exciting to look at. But the dragster pieces are really well made, so if you don't end up getting those Mario Kart pieces, at the jump of it, it's fine. It's still a great game with the vehicles itself. But that's honestly all I have for you guys today. If you are interested in notifications, there is a bell up there somewhere. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I do appreciate any feedback. I'm trying to make these videos more and more outrageous, and with your guys' help, I have been doing so. Monday, regular board game reviews. Wednesday, weekly updates / talks, and then on Fridays, my vintage board game reviews. That is all I have for you guys today. I'll see you guys next time.